What do you think people should think about?
Should think about?
Yeah, what's
Oh,
important to think about?
gosh.
Today we're sitting down with Mr. Matt Randall, and we're talking a little about some of his endeavors, some of his businesses, some of his interests, some things that he enjoy. And then before we get into all of that, I do want to start with one question,
Uh-oh.
which I usually start with. So,
Very broad question, and it spans so many different areas.
It does.
If you want to ask that question in a religious setting, they should be thinking about the hereafter.
okay, yeah,
If you want to ask it in terms of what my passion is longevity, they should be
Yeah.
thinking about how to remain healthy as long as possible.
okay,
Thinking about your financial future,
Yeah.
thinking about your maintaining your relationships with your spouse, children, friends, and so forth.
yeah.
Gosh, there's so much to think about.
All right, so you mentioned that your passion is longevity.
Yes.
How did that end up being a passion of yours?
Uh, oh, when I was in high school, I did so much crazy, stupid stuff that I used to tell my friends.
We'll talk about it another time.
Yeah, yeah. That's a long video. But we used to have a joke that where I'd never make it to 30, for
Okay.
starters.
Okay.
And the saying was, going to die young, leave a good-looking corpse.
Okay. Okay.
30 comes and goes, and 40 comes and goes, 50, and now 60.
Yeah.
And suddenly I'm thinking, yeah, geez, this could be a good deal
Right.
if I keep it going,
Okay.
right? And then that leads into a lot of other facets of how I look at life.
Yeah.
Biblically, we're people always say your body is a temple.
Right.
You are the temple of God. And in that regard, I look at my body as something that I'm the steward of. It was given to me. It's not mine.
Sure.
It was given to me to take care of.
Yeah.
And if I don't take care of it, then how am I going to take care of anybody else?
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of interwoven thoughts involved in all of that.
Yeah. So maybe think. So you mentioned longevity, the idea that we have a life at least here and now, that we want to have a long life. I think everybody probably agrees with that. They want to live long, and they don't want that life to cut too short. I would imagine for most people.
I look, well, again, I think about that differently.
Okay.
You opened with asking what we should think about.
Yeah.
Longevity, there's a difference between lifespan and health span.
Mm-hmm.
So
point.
when I think about longevity, it's not a case of I just want to live longer and I want to live as long as possible because
Right.
I'm afraid of death or whatever. I think mostly people are afraid of death because they don't know what comes next, if anything,
Right.
is on their mind. But not enough people are really concerned about how healthy they will live in those years.
Sure.
Some certain statistics will tell you that people who continue to work until they're 62 can live to about 86 on average.
Okay.
The Social Security system
Mm-hmm.
kicks in after we retire at about 62.
Mm-hmm.
And the government looks at that in terms of, well, how long do we have to pay for this person?
Right.
And when you look at all the factors that go into this thinking, how long, let's assume you retire at 62, and the government now wants to expand that. They're saying everybody's living longer. Well, not really, but they use that as an excuse to say, well, why don't we make retirement age 70?
Mm-hmm.
And that's because the average person might make it to 74.
Right.
So the government can shorten the amount of money it can spend on people and Social Security. The other piece of that is not just how long you're going to live, but how long will you live healthy, be active, be able to enjoy what's called the golden years.
Right.
The golden years are supposed to be after retirement,
Right.
where you can theoretically. You have money saved up, you have time and money, freedom, you can travel, you can garden, you know, raise dogs in the backyard, whatever you want to do, play with the grandchildren. But really, if you haven't taken care of the temple, if you haven't been a good steward to the body, how are you going to have the energy, the health, the mental clarity? Now we start talking about dementia and Alzheimer's and the number of memory care units that are being built in this country.
Yeah.
How long will you actually have a productive, healthy golden years?
Right.
And that's what I look at.
Yeah. So you kind of already answered my second question a little bit, because on this channel, I like to talk about, it starts with a lot what happens in the mind, right? That it starts on the inside and then it kind of manifests on the outside. So what should you think about in order to have a healthy outward trajectory or you want to head? So the second thing I wanted to ask was, if you think about longevity, if you make that a conscious, not just an unconscious awareness, but something that you want to focus on, longevity, and then you obviously want to make some steps probably to ensure that this longevity becomes a part, like you implement in your life. So my second question I was thinking about asking was, how will this help you grow as a person? And you kind of alluded to it, that if you think about longevity and you implement healthy practices, then the benefit in your growth is that you will enjoy your growth in terms of health or wealth or relationships. But how do you feel like in your life has that been what have you noticed being a benefit of focus on longevity, as far as you seeing growth in the trajectory that you wanted to see?
For me, now at age 60, I am healthier than most of the other 60-year-olds that I associate with.
Right.
The people that I went to high school with, that we get together every once in a while, and they complain about their aches and pains, the last time we went out for breakfast, one of them had a doctor's appointment because he had to check up on whatever current disease he has.
Sure.
And they talk about the medications that they're on and how they've had to stop doing this so they can't play with the grandchildren. And when I think about that,
you feel grateful for your
I am
your
very
own
grateful
thing?
that I started much earlier putting thought into where I want to be at this age, where I want to be health-wise, among other things. So that thought process is important to me, and what I see now in my children is that it's catching on, it's passing down.
Right.
And I'm glad to see that they're thinking about eating better. They're thinking about going to the gym.
Right.
It's good that my children are actually concerned about their health.
Yeah.
Instead of just partying all the time, which my kids are in their 20s.
Right.
So they could be just going out and partying all the time, like I did in my 20s.
Yeah. So it sounds like most people in that age, right? We know, even talking about psychology, we know that the prefrontal cortex is not full developed till, what is it, 25
or so.
And men, right? So they need a lot of help, guidance and direction. What would you say maybe to someone who's younger than 25, who may not feel those aches and pains and think about retirement, and what would you say maybe, hey, just start maybe thinking about this and implement this one thing, if there's one thing, to maybe someone who doesn't quite yet think about, that one day they're going to be 60 or 70, and they have to retire and they have to live and function. And
that's right along with the question of what would you tell your 18-year-old self kind of idea.
Yeah.
And if I were to talk to my 18-year-old self and give them some perspective from a 60-year-old, ooh, ouch. Yeah, There's a book which has a great title. It's not necessarily directed on this. It's called The Body Keeps Score.
Yep, I've heard of that. I haven't read it, but I know of it.
I haven't read it either. My wife has.
Okay.
But just the title.
Maybe we'll read it one day together and talk about it.
Well, yeah. Someday we should, because I've heard a lot of people reference it lately.
Yeah.
But the idea of that title, The Body Keeps Score, is so true, and that's
Sure.
where people, they say after 30 you start to feel all the stupid stuff you did as a kid.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I could correct most of that. Most people just give in and say, well, I'm getting old, so these aches and pains, my knees hurt because I did basketball or whatever.
Right.
And then they just accept that as normal. So what I would tell people in their late teens, coming into adulthood, early adulthood, is that's not the way the body was designed.
Right.
Don't think in terms of I have an ache or a pain, I need to medicate it.
Right.
Because that leads to a lifelong habit of medication after medication, which is destroying the immune system, and I could go into all of that.
Yeah.
But the idea of just don't give in to this is normal, and taking drugs for it is normal. That's what everybody does. That's what I need to do.
Right.
And the body keeps score. Every bad food, every soda, every alcohol, and God knows I've done all of it.
Right.
Every hot dog. Every time I had a headache and had to take an aspirin or a Tylenol or something,
Right.
the body keeps score, and it piles up, and people don't believe it until suddenly they're, pushing 40,
Sure.
pushing 50,
Yeah.
and it's like, why does my body feel so bad?
Right.
And then they go back to, oh, that's just normal. All my friends feel like that
Right.
too,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be.
It made me think of Earl Nightingale had this quote. I'm paraphrasing it, but he said, in terms of pharmaceuticals and medicine, and I think there's a place and time for medicine and pharmaceuticals, and there's a place for modern medicine. But I do think, and you know more than me, but a lot of people maybe have become over dependent upon it. But he was saying that if everybody's going this direction, you're probably wise of going the opposite direction. I think with some things that's true.
Yes.
Like the whole, think of our society in Western, we're in the US. If you go to the grocery store, most of it's processed food.
Yes.
If you look at people's shopping carts, there's a lot of processed foods. And I'm guilty of that too, eating some of that stuff. But I know that's kind of the easy road, right?
Sure it
but
is.
the road that's, maybe harder in a sense, like is to eat right, to eat healthy. But you have to kind of go against the grain, because you have to maybe do a little more research, maybe a little more digging to find those type of food items, and rather than just go with the flow.
It's difficult because it's harder.
It's more expensive.
More work.
Yep.
It can be more
Can be.
expensive. If you think about doing preparing every meal yourself,
Right.
it's work,
Takes
it's
time.
time,
Yep.
it's money,
Yep.
it's effort,
Yep.
and that makes it more difficult. Is it easier just to go through the drive-through, grab a burger, fries, and a Coke? Yeah, sure.
Convenient, comfortable.
Yeah.
Don't have to leave your car.
If you want to shorten your lifespan and your health span at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Go for it. Why don't
Yeah.
you get that donut and coffee on the way to work in the morning too?
Right. Yeah.
And then the burger and fries on the way home.
Right.
And you're just, every time you do that, you're just cutting the lifespan down and destroying the immune system.
Yeah.
But then there's a number of commercials on television that will tell you that's normal. We've got a pill for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that made me think. And we'll get to the last thing, which is kind of, how do you see contribution, like giving back with this awareness, this knowledge? But before that, if someone is in the cycle of eating processed food and not really having that healthy awareness, but they built a long-term habitual pattern,
Yes.
like what would maybe one thing to break that pattern that you found either helpful or some maybe experience, so you can share that, hey, even for someone who's kind of deep into maybe that unhealthy lifestyle, maybe this thing could be a thing that can help break that. Call you?
Yeah, call me. Certainly call me. I'm a certified nutritionist, so I can help. But
Yeah. And we'll put that info too in the link
sure,
if they do want to contact you.
that would be awesome. But to answer your question, the it's as easy and simple and as difficult as saying be an example.
Right.
That's what we need to do for our children, for our friends. They say you are the sum of the 5 best friends you hang out with.
Yep.
Right? And that's financially, intellectually, physically. You're going to be the sum of the 5 people you hang out with most often. So be an example.
Right.
Take them to the gym with you.
Right.
When you go out to eat something healthy.
Yep.
Encourage them to do the same. With my kids, what I did was I started Sunday night dinner, and we have 6 children. So Sunday night dinner is a big production for us to cook for at least 8 people, and sometimes boyfriends and girlfriends involved.
Yeah.
So when I do, I cook from scratch.
Okay.
And I try to do 4 or 5 course meal, so they understand what a full meal,
Sure.
what I would call a fancy meal,
Yeah.
is like. And we set the table like it's a holiday. And I cook from scratch, and I spend all day in the kitchen doing it. And I love that.
Right.
And I think they're enjoying it.
Yeah. It sounds very enjoyable. And it sounds like that's something that you've already contributed to, is you're trying to set that example, not only in terms of abstract teaching, but you also implement it. And I think, talking about longevity, if one of the things I think is important for humans is to give back. That's, I think we're designed to obviously love ourselves, take care of our own needs, but also out of that abundance, out of that resource, I think we're called to give, and we find fulfillment in contribution, which I think is one way to do it, is to whether serve your family or friends or setting that example. If someone wants to know more about this, because we only scratch the surface essentially.
Sure.
I know you've written some books. I know that you're a certified nutritionist.
Right.
You are also a Taekwondo master. Master. You have a travel business.
I do.
Anything else I missed?
There's a lot in there, yes.
Okay.
But it's all wrapped into one thing in one website.
Okay. And the website is?
workanywhere.life.
And then you have a YouTube channel.
I do.
Which is called?
The Matt Randall.
The Matt Randall. We'll put a link to that. And where else they can find any of your information or services?
I have a Facebook page. Sure.
Matt Randall. The Matt Randall.
Matt Randall 65.
Matt Randall 65. Okay. Yeah. So if they want to learn more about longevity, nutrition, financial guidance, Taekwondo still? No?
No. I closed the academy years ago.
Okay.
So they can focus more on family and other things that I wanted to contribute to.
But travel as well?
Definitely travel.
Okay. Which out of those areas do you feel, are they all kind of combined, or is it one that you find more passionate and joy from doing?
They're all combined into this trinity that I look at as time, money, and energy.
Okay.
Right. So if you need time to be able to do the things you want to do, you need the money to be able to afford it, and you need the health or the energy to be able to put it all together.
Sure.
One of my example, I don't want to say favorite example, it's a terrible way of saying it, it's Steve Jobs. Here's a guy who's the saying, more money than God, anything in the world that he could ever want, one of the largest companies on the planet, and he dies of cancer too young.
Right.
So you can have the time and the money, but if you don't have the health, none of it's worth it.
Very profound. I think that's a good place to kind of end it for this time.
Awesome.
So
thanks
thank you
for inviting me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So for those out there, if you want to think more about longevity and health, and may be able to not only live a long lifespan, but to actually enjoy and be able to enjoy their lives, to have the health, to have the vitality, to have the energy, to have the resources. Check out some of Matt Randall's information. We'll put in the link. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.